Good evening. So, today we are doing two questions about something which we call as memory and emotions. So, these questions basically are like a science questions, but I am not going to do anything scientific over here. So, we are just going to take a little help from that region, and but we are going to address it more on the spiritual level rather than anything scientific. So, I don't think you should try to find out scientific explanations in this. Try to find more spiritual answers in this rather than scientific. So, we are going to do questions on memory and emotions. All right. The first question is, how does memory work and how it's a very very difficult question for the one who must have written it down, because memory is something which we are always stuck with. We are stuck with memories. So, how does memory work and how to disassociate emotion from memory and see everything as mere events? Scientifically, if I look at it, like I said, I'm going to touch a little bit of science here and there. Scientifically, people tried removing a part of a brain, a little part of the brain. This particular part of the brain, which is supposed to have association with the memory, and they succeeded in doing that. The memory got erased, the memory was not there. So, is a memory a part of the spiritual or no? Well, let us understand whether it's a part of spiritual. Yes, it is a part of spiritual. And how does it work? Everybody is encoded with, again, scientific term a little bit, everybody is encoded with what is called as their prarabdha karma. There are certain actions that they have to perform to eliminate the karma that is to be repaid, which is what is called the prarabdha. You come with it. It's a preloaded kind of a game, you are going to go through the entire process of that. Let us say you have to get married to a person. Now, when you have to get married to that individual, it is written in your prarabdha that you have to meet this person and get married. So, you will get married. Now, how does this work with the memory? See, there is no memory here. It is karma associated with both these individuals. See? I have to wait for the aeroplane to go ahead. Otherwise, it makes a lot of noise. Alright. So, every individual has a specific memory. But here we are not talking of that at all. A memory is created in that lifetime, right? Now, as a child, I see a particular incident in my life. Let us say I have seen a major accident. I have seen an air crash, let us say. It will go in as a long-term memory in my brain somewhere, some part of my brain, some part of my body is going to get embedded over there as memory. Are we discussing that? No. We are not discussing any of those things. We are discussing memory which we have brought in from our past lives. Which life of ours we have brought it from? No idea. it is literally like a loaded thing, it's encoded inside your system. So when a person goes through those particular images, things, instances, situations, repayments, or whatever that the person does, it happens in a very systematic manner. What is this memory then? Isn't it a memory from some life of ours? But if I am talking of rebirths are multiple lifetimes, isn't it? So many rebirths we might have taken. Is it necessary that we have taken birth in a higher womb like a human being or a god? No, we might have taken birth in a very, very lower womb. You could have been an insect, you could have been a demon, you could have been anything. Nobody knows. Now, the science has a way of putting things. They say that the memory remains in the form of an image or whatever in your brain. I am not going to disagree with that because that is your this life's issue. It is not a karma, it is an image or an action which is encoded and kept over there. It's just there. Maybe it's like I have taken money from someone. Yes, it could be just a memory. I have taken 10 lakh rupees from someone. It will go as a memory in my brain somewhere. And when I have to recall it, I can definitely recall it. But is it connected to what I am talking about as the spiritual one? Not at all. The spiritual memory, it is coming from so many lifetimes. Please remember this. So don't mix it up with what science teaches us in this particular brain of mine. I have memory. Yes, that is different and this is different. So how does this memory work? Here I am talking of something which is lifetimes of memory. But I have come with only a small portion in the prarabdha. And that is what I am going to execute. Is it the same as this memory which I am talking about? No way. This is material worldly kind of a knowledge, where I see objects and I put them in my memory. And the whole brain works in such a manner that it takes in a particular place. It's called the limbic system, and it encodes it and puts it in another place as a long-term memory. I'm not discussing that at all. So look at it from the spiritual perspective. In my previous life, I might have done some job or might have maybe built a castle or a house or something like that. And I was not allowed to stay over there. In this life, I am supposed to go and stay in the same house. So do you think that that has got connection with the previous one in this body? Well, look at it this way. You may be born in that house and you become an owner of that place. So do you think that this is current memory or is it something very far away which nobody understands? Right? So spiritual thing is connected in a different way than the material worldly way of looking at it. So I have given you an understanding of how this memory works. So if I have to repay somebody from whom I have taken something in my last so many lifetimes ago, and if it is encoded in me in this life, I have to meet that person and I have to give that money. It is not like a repayment from this life. It may be a repayment from the previous lifetimes. And by the way, this science cannot explain. Science cannot explain why a child dies at birth. they can say the cause of his birth was choking or something like that. A child who is born with a kind of a disease, a diseased child, or a child with having, a problem with the limbs, they can associate it to some kind of a gene. They can say that in the mother's womb something like this must have happened. Of course, that is possible for that body. But how was it programmed? That programming is a very big thing. Somebody out there is programming this whole thing. So when a person gets a child, you should remember it is nothing to do with this lifetime of ours. Like, you are not responsible for it. Material worldly way, yes, you are responsible. If you are looking from the material perspective, as a parent you become responsible for the for the child. But in spiritual way, how do you know that child was going to be born? How do you know what karma that child has taken? How do you know that you are supposed to be the mother? This has all come from the previous lifetimes. So it has nothing to do with this lifetime. So this is one thing which you got to get it absolutely clear. So now did you understand how the memory works? We are not talking of the material memory which is known to us. Like, I came first in my graduation, I passed my post-graduation with honors, I joined this company and I worked over there for so many years. Yes, that is a memory. But we are not talking of that. We are talking of how did you land up in that university? Is because of you writing your examination? How did you end up with those parents who were going to send you to that university? How was it that you were supposed to take up some specific subjects? Yes, the superficial knowledge can be taken into consideration and saying, yes, I was supposed to take up, theoretical physics. Of course. But then, how is it connected to your this life? You have been studying physics. Very good. But how was it connected to your past? That is something which we are talking about. So in the university, you may have to meet another person who may be a researcher there. Was it programmed in your brain somewhere? Not at all. Do you get the point? And this particular person that you're going to meet, you will end up marrying that person. Do you really think it was programmed in some brain of yours? No. This is connected to your so many lifetimes. So it has come from there. So, how do you dissociate with this emotion from memory? Well, all the instances that happen in the material world are supposed to happen. When you meet some people, some memories get created. But those memories that you get creating in the future, that is, I am talking about the future tense, you are creating memories for the future. Did you get what I am saying? I'll give you an example. Let us say I am doing some job on my computer. And I have solved certain things, or maybe I have written a small essay. I store it in the memory of the computer. I don't remember it. Maybe when I was thinking about something, I said, oh my God, I have an essay written on this issue. Can I just go and search for it? And you search that thing out and then you publish it. That is short term. Even if you say it was there for 1 year or 70 years in your life, it is still short term. It is a very, very small portion in time. One lifetime is only so much. We are talking of so many lifetimes. So if I take only one lifetime, it is only so much, isn't it? So if I look at it from that way, if it is a minor thing connected to this lifetime, I do not have to make permanent memories with anybody. If I make permanent memories with someone, I am going to get entrapped in it for my entire future lifetimes. And this is what spirituality teaches us. So it teaches us detachment. Get detached. Why do you want to store it as a memory? Something which is worthwhile. It is not worth the while. Let me tell you, if your friend has insulted you, let us say you have a very good friend, and one day there was a big argument and he insults you in a very big way, as he calls you names. Now that becomes a memory in your brain. Do you know what is going to happen to it? It is going to create a lot of ripples in the future. And this memory will be revived when the time comes. You have the entire neural system from here to the bottom. When you look at that person next time, you will remember and immediately you will say, this is the person who has done something wrong to me. And this is what memories create. Unnecessary, silly emotions. This memory, if I make it more permanent by remembering it, I am going to carry it in my next lifetime. Why do you want to do that? It becomes a karmic action. So when you stick to the emotions, when you stick to your memories, you are literally creating a lot of big problems in the future. So this was like a spiritual explanation to you. Disassociate with them. You don't have to build any permanent relationship with any human being on this planet Earth. When you are born, you have a working relationship with people. Do not give names and faces and things like that associated. This is my father, mother, brother, sister, this one, that one, all this kind of things. That is the reason why spiritual people are told to become detached from it, so that they do not carry forward this memory into another lifetime. So detachment is the only way in which you cannot get emotionally disturbed. You don't have to be disturbed at all. Great spiritual teachers like Buddha or Jesus, imagine when they were around on this planet Earth, if they would have carried the ill will of what happened in their life, in that short life of theirs, Buddha's lifetime and Jesus' lifetime. If Jesus were to carry forward the memory saying that you did this to me, Jesus would not be Jesus at all. Even great people in this lifetime, those who are on the spiritual path, should never ever get involved in creating memories with people. People, places, things. An Avdhuta is a person who roams around the whole earth as a free soul. Why is he free? Because he is not attached to any person, anything at all. You get attached to one person because of some emotional attachment, your life is full of hell. Let me assure you this much. It is a guaranteed hell. You ask anybody around, those who really feel, oh, I'm finding myself a very wonderful bride. Oh, the bride looks wonderful. But your life is going to become hell very soon. Attachment is the root cause of misery. So, disassociation with the memory has to be completed only with detachment. Do not try to store any stupid memories in your mind. They say in the brain. Let me say, okay, fine, store it in the brain. And whoever has asked me the question has said, can we consider it as mere events? That is exactly what you got to do. It is just an happenstance. It just happened in the now and I have forgotten about it. It is not necessary for us to know. It is not important that I got to go and perform a lobotomy in my brain and remove a part of the brain and forget about it. It's not important. I mean, why should I harm all that beautiful system which is there, I've been given this brain so that I can at least live in this world nicely. You think that people like Buddha or Jesus Christ, they got lobotomized or something like that? That they became emotionless? On the contrary, they had the highest knowledge in the world. Their knowledge came from not only this life, but all the lifetimes of theirs. They have never-ending memories. Please remember this. A Buddha could tell you how many lifetimes he lived. Hasn't he written a very beautiful, stories about himself? He said, in my past life I did this and then I did this and I did this. So many stories of Buddha are there. So I cannot say that the person, Siddhartha, who became Buddha, went and cut off his brain. He doesn't have to. He became detached. And detachment is the root cause because of which he had no karma left in his world. And so he became the Buddha, full of knowledge. Alright? So just consider all this as just events and nothing beyond that. Now we move to the second question. Things as a persistent memory and how to control what to store and what not to. You ask a scientist, he is going to give you the entire limbic system. He is going to tell you there is a hippocampus, there is a amygdala, there is this, there is that, and he is going to confuse you further and further. And then you tell him, oh, all these neurons are firing all over the place and the frontal cortex and back. Oh my God, it's I tell you, for me, it's like a very heavy dose. I can't remember all those names also. So, all these things which are mind registers. Mind registers, no. The organ called the brain. It is there. It is going to register all the incidents. Do I have to be connected to it? Brain is not the mind. This one thing you got to get it clear. The brain is not the mind. Brain is a part of the mind, a little part, a small tiny portion of the mind. Yes, it helps because it is processing. The entire neural system, that is from top to bottom, that means my spinal cord, all the nerve endings at different places, wherever they are ending, wherever they are starting, it doesn't matter. That also forms the nervous system, which is also a part of this thing, which we call as the mind. It is nothing but helping the mind. Mind is an imaginary one. Why is it imaginary? Mind actually doesn't exist. But if you want the mind to exist, it is going to become a very strong one for you. It's going to eat your body up and somebody else's brain up also. You know how your mind works, isn't it? You can eat somebody else's brain also. Starting from day one, right in the early morning time also, you can make hell of somebody else's life as well. That's what happens. So mind is such a dicey thing. It's an imaginary bird, non-existent. Spiritual people consider mind as a body. It is called the subtle body. So what is it that gets stored in this body? Now the mind thing is not connected to that brain stuff. Okay, whatever brain stuff that we spoke about, storing long-term memory, short-term memory, all that thing, it's in storing in the cortex. All right, very good for you. All your science people, it's a very good thing they are storing in the cortex. Very nice. What has that got to do with what we are discussing? Mind is just a place which has brought this whole thing along from your previous lifetimes. You see, you don't have a mind only when you become realized. When you become free, realization, your mind is disconnected, gets out. Get out from here. You can say that to the mind right in this life also. You become realized in this life, your mind is worthless. No use. Then the connection between the body parts and the mind is not there. Because mind is a gap. It's a chasm. Nothing in between. And it's an empty space. You should attempt for that. Because the mind exists for every average human being. I should not say average, I should say every human being, the mind exists. Because to overcome the mind is very difficult. To get it out of the system is like, oh my God, it's impossible. But this is the place where you create these karmas. Every action that you do constitutes a karma. Why would you want to make it into long term? From this life to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Why does anybody want to carry such data? It's not good. So, when you register something in your brain as a memory, the mind is the great organ, one of the body. It is absorbing it. It is retaining it as a karmic debt. You owe it to someone. It can be good or it can be bad also. You know how it is good? You might have donated to charity, you might have helped somebody, you might have done some good, something like that. And yes, of course, as a memory, it is gone inside your brain and stuck somewhere. But in the mind, it has created a karmic loop in the system. Because whoever that person to whom you have given a charitable, maybe you have given $1,000, that person has to return it back to you. You think charity means just giving and forgetting about it? Your mind is not going to allow you to do that. And that is the reason why we have spirituality. Spirituality teaches you not to retain this kind of stupid memories. I have given him $1,000. He owes me $1,000. That is called getting it embedded in this mind thing. So if it is there and you recall it, and if you know that it is there, do you get what I am saying? You have made it into a permanent thing, not in the brain, but permanent in this mind. You are in for a very great jolly ride of your lifetimes. Why? When are you going to meet this person to repay that, or he is going to give it back to you? Do you know this answer? Nobody knows this answer. And that is the reason why the register in the brain could be only temporary, though they call it permanent, But that permanent thing is not permanent at all. It is what the mind absorbs is the permanent thing. So never allow your mind to absorb it very strongly. I will explain to you. Let us say you are going somewhere. I will give you my own example. Let us say I was walking down the street, all right, and someone spat on me. Two. People spit in India. Actually, during coronavirus, you are not supposed to. But let us say he spat on me. If I keep it in my mind, you see, it has become a memory in the brain somewhere. But in my mind, I remember it. Do you know what is going to happen? And I will say, this person is an uncouth person. He doesn't know what is manners. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to talk like this in my mind. You know how your mind thinks, tick, 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 tick. It just loves to talk too much. So when it talks too much, it has created so many karmas that poor fellow whom you don't even know from Adam, some person who was walking down the street, now you have formed a permanent relationship with him. In some life of yours, you will have to meet him. Why? You are retaining that knowledge inside your mind. He spat on me. No brains. See? Idiot like him. No common sense. He should take care. People don't spit on the roads. All these things, all that has gone and stuck in your mind. Poor mind. You know what it has done? It has told you, don't worry, sir. I will ensure that in some life of yours you will meet this idiot again, and then you can spit on him. Got the answer? And for that reason, you are going to take another life. You know how painful this one life is? Why are you interested in so many other lives of yours? So retention of this kind of memory is going to be pathetic and absolutely bad for you. So I hope you understand this. At least this fear of not to continue in lifetimes will at least tell you, okay sir, I don't have to bother myself about it. I hope you got the answer. This was a spiritual talk on memory and emotions, all right? And how not to get trapped in the future lifetimes by creating a karmic loop in the system, all because of your mind. So don't think so much about it. Let it be. Just let it be. Don't get attached to anything or anybody in this world at all. All right? I hope you get something out of this talk, because it is important not to get so much deeper into this mind talk and relationships and attachments, because they are the root cause of your rebirths, all because of your mind. All right? So I will stop over here my Q&A session. Das Bodh, this is Chapter 8, Cosmic Troubles. All right. Sriram, in the last two chapters, we have described physical troubles and sufferings coming from outside objects. Now we will describe calamities or sufferings that come through natural sources, either in this world or the other world, mostly because of our own karma. We call them cosmic troubles. Such an appropriate one. You see, this chapter is so appropriate. I just now answered you on everything to do with your karma. And Das Bodh chapter on cosmic troubles is everything to do with karma only. Got it? So, it is going to describe the calamities and the sufferings that come because of natural course. Natural sources either in this world or in the other world. What other world are we talking about? You see, because of karma, you can go to the world of the demons as well as all those creatures also. Have I stopped you from going there? Your mind is such a beautiful one, it always takes out an extra ticket for you. It says, I was thinking that last time you went to earth as a human being, next time you should go at least you should go to the demonic world to see. They have some fantastic rides, you see. Yeah. You have to enjoy those rides. Your mind is already engaged in doing this future booking for you. Why do you want to do that? That is what this is called cosmic trouble. So it is not only from this physical life that you are going to get into trouble. You know what trouble you can get into from the other world? Well, let me just give you one example. You see, when we are just moving around, what happens to a human being? Let us say I am walking to some place through one small patch of green. All right. And there may be a snake sitting on top of the tree. I may disturb him. He may come down like that towards you. You may get upset and you may run further into the bushes. Now in that bush, there is a great sage who is sitting in his spiritual body over there. You are going to disturb him also. You are going to go and kick him. You are going to stumble over something and you say, oh my God, something happened. All right. You didn't know that there was somebody over there. Or maybe you go further up and there was one ghost wooing another ghost. And suddenly you come over there, they get scared of you. Oh my God, human! And they may run away for all you know. Now, do you know that these ghosts are actually scared of human beings? But we are scared of the ghost more than they are scared of us. This is how it works. I don't know whether you know about this. You see, all the dogs, all the animals of this world, you seen all the animals of this world? A lion, a tiger, you name any of these animals. Actually, they are afraid of you. A snake is afraid of you, that's why it comes behind you. It is trying to protect itself. It is not doing anything. So if you don't have any harm, you don't want to do harm to any animals, the animals are not even going to do anything to you. If you don't mean any harm, please remember this. That doesn't mean that you are going to try it out today. Yeah, I want to go into a snake den and see whether the snake is going to get upset because I am there. Don't try. Otherwise you will want to. So, coming back to our story. So, anything can happen. The spiritual worldly people in their subtle form are all around us. You can't see them. You really can't see them. Yesterday, some of you have seen it. Some of you have actually seen yesterday. I was not supposed to talk about myself yesterday, and I started talking. And at that given moment, I'm telling you this. This is very funny. Those who were over here saw that happen. First and foremost, my camera went blank. All right. My second camera, the memory which was still 186 gigabytes of memory was still there in that. It was blank, 186 GB. It said memory is over. The air conditioner started leaking, and it leaked so much that it fell right inside the electrical circuitry over there. So everything came to a standstill. There were people sitting over here and they asked me, Guruji, did you see somebody over here? I, I couldn't confirm anything to them because the universe worked in such a way they don't want me to say anything to anybody. And this has not happened once, it has happened many times before also. I can't complete my sentences or tell people what exactly transpired. So yeah, so these forces, all at once everything happened. So I hope you understand that in this universe there are forces which are very subtle in nature, which you cannot see. Those who have come with me from the past, they have themselves felt it and seen it right in front of them. You see, some of you have smelt some very beautiful fragrances. Now there is nobody in the room wearing any scent, but still suddenly there is a very nice wafting of that fragrance is coming in that room. And it happens. How does it happen? I am telling you, these are the subtle ones. They are not going to show you themselves. So that is the reason why I had to stick to this particular verse for a longer duration for this reason. There are things which you can't even see, touch, feel or experience because they are in a subtle form. And these subtle forms are all around you. And that is the reason why when you have good intentions, please remember this, when you have good intentions, these subtle bodies, these subtle people around you, they listen to you. They listen to you. And they create these beautiful situations for you. Please always have good faith and good intentions in your heart. The entire universe around you will help you. Alright, so we'll move further. The first verse itself has taken, I think, more than 10 minutes. So now, it's a small chapter, don't worry, I will finish it in time. As a result of good actions or bad actions of persons, there is a suffering or comfort after death, suffering in hell and comfort in heaven. These are called cosmic troubles. Yes. Now, here I will give you an understanding. A karma performed with another person. Let us say, you might have taken money from another person and you have not returned it back. Now, this person needed the money in time. You were not able to give because you yourself never had it. Now, the person who wanted the money back wanted it because it was needed for his daughter's wedding. He is not telling you that. He says, can you please return my money? Now, in your books it is written that you just owe him a certain amount. That is it. But his daughter's wedding and the other people who have got to be paid and then a whole load of things, where is it written? Nowhere. Have you calculated the interest that you were supposed to pay? Not at all. All these are called collateral damages that come along with that one karma that you have done. The one karma that you have done is taken money from somebody. The rest of the things are collateral damages for which you are going to pay in all the hells and the heavens of this world. How many heavens are there? Too many heavens are there. Which heaven would you like to go to? Don't tell me about those virgin heaven. Okay, that is not the place. And don't even talk about Indra's heaven. That guy only loves to enjoy. Yeah, and which hell? Not the worst kind, isn't it? You want to go to a better hell. So, yes, all these collateral karmas that you are doing is going to lead you towards that place. So he says, good actions, bad actions of persons, there is suffering and comfort after death. Suffering in hell, comfort in heaven, these are called cosmic troubles. People commit many faults and sins by arrogance and indiscrimination, and they become the cause of many sufferings and punishment, which Yama, the death god, gives. Yama is responsible for all your nonsensical actions that you have done. Okay? He's got a whole load of people. Yes, you know how many things that he has got lined up for you. He's just waiting. Just you die, Mr. Higgins. I will take you with me. And he is just waiting. You know, he has got one buffalo or somebody like that with him. Then, that black fellow. Of course, you better be scared. He is going to come with the long list of things and say, yes, I have come to take you. Today I am going to yoke you. Take you. And that's what happens. All right. People with many bad deeds, either on the strength of money or backing of many persons and support by the king and various type of powers. They suffer in hell after death because they do what they should not do, flouting the codes of conduct. There are specific codes of conduct that you need to follow. And these codes of conduct has been given by Manu. Even in the Bible, there are codes of conduct. You please go to any scripture anywhere in the world, there are definitely codes of conduct that you got to follow. So if you are not going to follow them, it's like if it is written, you know, on the cigarette pack it is written, it is going to cause you injury and all that, blah, blah, all that. Of course it's going to cause you. Who says it's not going to? No, I have been smoking for the last 10 years. Nothing has happened to me. Don't worry, very soon it will happen. And then your suffering is not connected only to that one, one, one problem with your lungs and all that. No. Yamdeva is standing over there in attendance for you. Didn't you read that notice on that cigarette pack which told you not to do that? In the material world, you got scot-free. Okay? But in Yama's world, he is a very, very great observer. He looks at you and says, you should have taken care of it, You may not understand. You see, when you were smoking, there were a lot of people around you which you troubled. I told you, collateral karma. That karma is not connected to you directly, but it is collateral. The people next to you, they are now suffering because of asthma, because they have the problems with that and this and that. And then, when you were smoking, your own children, they were affected. And you think that is not a karma? Yes, of course. For that you got to suffer. Come on, let's go. Being blind by selfishness, they covet many things possessed by others, deprive others of their bread, take their land by force, rob money, women and other articles. People love to do this kind of things. Being arrogant and highly handed, they kill people and their families and commit many crimes, and therefore they suffer in hell. When there is a war, one man will kill another person. This man who is killing that other person is not thinking of the other person's family. Is he thinking? The terrorist who is bombing an entire place down, does he think that there are going to be hundreds of people who are going to die? And what is going to happen to their family and their dear ones and the near ones and all that? They don't think like that. They are just doing the action. But how much is the collateral damage that has happened? And that is the reason why they got to suffer. You may not like this, but this is how it works. All right? It's not, you see, an atheist or whatever the other type of people that are there, they will say, I don't care about all this. Don't worry, sir. After death, we will talk. You see, Yama is a good friend of mine. Yesterday only I was saying, I met him. So he's a very nice guy, by the way. He keeps an entire list of things. For every person, he has got a different list. So his list is like, in our world, we have to read page by page, like this, like this, like this. In his world, he just scans it like this. And yes, done. They transgress their limits. In the village, the master of the villager punishes, the village punishes. In the province, the ruler punishes if crimes are committed. Even the ruler is punished by the king, who in turn is punished by the god of death if he is doing wrong. There are lots of tyrants in this world. In today's day and age also they exist. Who is going to punish them, you may say? For them, they may have to come back with a karma. But the karma is not all that they have to suffer, isn't it? There are so many things that they have done wrong to this world. There are different kings, I don't know whether they can be called as kings or kingdoms or whatever it is. They think that they are the super bosses of this world. They will gather all these people. Okay, take this woman, take that one, take that one, take that one. This is what they do. You think they should not suffer? If you are the God Almighty, definitely you will want them to suffer. So anyway, this is a way. If the king commits politically wrong actions, he is punished by Yama. And if Yama does injustice, the Almighty God punishes him. So there is a gap in between also. Yama is just the person who is in charge of all the punishments necessary. He says, okay, you are the God of punishment. I never said he's the devil of punishment. He's the God of punishment. Yes, you take care of all the punishments. All right? God has made the definite arrangements in which we are expected to have good moral conduct. And if we go wrong according to the law of God, we suffer after death. God is not some bad guy or something like that. It is you who do the wrong. You are the one who is doing the wrong. There are certain laws that have to be adhered to. Sometimes people knowingly create these problems. They will say, yeah, I know about it. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Yama is not interested in doesn't matter. For him, it matters. Got it? And he is going to give you a lot of splatter. I don't know, whatever it is. The various authorities who have powers to punish criminals are appointed by God only. And therefore, such suffering is called divine or cosmic. This third category being very, very painful. In the scriptures, various ways of punishment given to the souls in hell are described, and that suffering cannot be avoided because of own action. These actions were done with complete knowledge, but you may say, I was not aware of it. Even if you are not aware of it, doesn't matter. You have committed those actions, no? You are responsible. Your responsibility is there. Like tomorrow you may say, I don't know the income tax laws, so I don't want to pay. You can't say that. If you do that, the income tax authority is definitely going to come and ask you, did you pay? No. Okay, come, let's go. In those books, details are given which relate to the sins or misdeeds. In the natural order of things, people get two types of subtle bodies. The one that suffers pain and the one that gets comfort in heaven. So, we come to the aspect of how you're going to enjoy or how you're going to get tortured. So, you get what is called as the subtle body. You know the subtle body. You don't forget the mind, please. Mind is the subtlest body that anybody can have. And this mind is going to be the cause of all the issues that you are going to go through in hell or in heaven. The heavenly enjoyment happens because of this subtle body called the mind. Similarly, all the tortures that you are going to go through in the hell is going to be happening only to the mind. Do you know how big a torture it is for the mind? Tell someone. You see, on the back of your head there is something. Every time he'll just do like this, like this, like this, like this. He'll keep on doing. It's the mind you have got attracted of his, So this is the reason why a person will say. And the mind is a very dicey one. So you better be careful. According to the scriptures, by good deeds people get many pleasures and happiness. By misdeeds they get severe punishment. We should not disbelieve in the scriptures. First, don't disbelieve in the scriptures. It is there. People who do not follow the dictates of Veda and have no devotion to God definitely get hard punishment. There is a general picture of suffering due to cosmic forces. There's a type of hell in which the servants of God of death throw the soul in a subtle body. The hell is full of worms which bite this person. Now, don't go by the worms that you can think of. Just imagine yourself, you are going to some outer space. And what kind of worms do you think they will be having over there? I mean, imagine those worms. You see, the worms on earth may not be so dangerous, but there, I think if you go to all these Star Wars and Star Trek and all these other movies, you will find some contraption, something which is going to be totally dangerous. People think like that. All right. There's another type of a hell, which is a big pot having a small opening in which there is a tremendous obnoxious smell and extreme heat. It is called Kumbipak or the boiling cauldron. Yeah, you're going to get roasted, toasted. I have always said these words, but it was in jest. But now today they are talking about the Kumbipak. There are other hells in which the soul is made to lie on hot ground pierced by hot daggers and compelled to embrace hot pillars. There are many cruel ways of punishments in hell with many sinister weapons, and the sinner suffers heavily. In this world also there are many punishments, those in hell surpasses these. These sufferers do not get a moment's rest, so continuous is their harassment in the hell. With your subtle body, these kind of harassments are very, very painful, let me tell you. The pain increases only because of the mind, isn't it? Have you not seen old people? Or have you not seen your own self? Think about it. Let us say you got a headache. Alright? Oh my God, this is such a stinking headache. And then suddenly somebody plays even one little, somebody's ringtone is such, oh my God, can you just shut off that ringtone? It is hurting my head. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. Actually, it is the mind which is creating all these loopholes for you. Not the physical body, but yet you think about it. That is the placebo effect. Either this way or that way, isn't it? It makes you think something good and it makes you think something bad. Actually, nothing may be wrong with you. Right. In this world there are many punishments, but those in hell surpass these. The sufferers do not get moments rest, so continuous is the harassment in the hell. 4 servants of God of death hold a person from 4 sides and the other give him continuous beating. They stretch him, pull him, throw him to the ground and give him blows after blows. He cannot get up nor can he sit. He cannot cry, he cannot fall. There is pain upon severe pain. He sobs, cries, shouts, laments, being hustled continuously by these bullying servants. He becomes weaker and weaker and does not die there. You are in a subtle body. How are you going to die, by the way? Have you seen ghosts dying? No. So when you are in your subtle body, you are anyway not going to die. The suffering is continuous. Alright? These cruelest words thrown at him and hardest blows, really innumerable are the ways of punishment there. Earlier we have described punishments given by kings, but the punishment given by Yama far exceeds those, and these are really very drastic. So we have described the physical troubles coming from outer objects, and now the category of divine punishment. This is a brief description and is given just to indicate the severity of the suffering. Thus in the 3rd Dashaka of Das, both in the dialogue between the Guru and the disciple, the 8th chapter by name Cosmic Troubles is completed here. It was a small chapter, but it was a very important chapter. Alright? So I'll take your leave now. Bye.